prosim posedite, da lahko nadaljujemo s programom. Na vrsti je drugi panel. Tako, dobrodošli. Torej, pred nami je drugi panel. Preobrazba daljinskega sistema bo zagotovo zahtevala ogromna finančna sredstva, po prvih ocenah več kot 130 milijonov evrov. Mestna občina Velenje je bila uspešna pri pridobitvi tehnične pomoči Target, kjer bodo strokovnjaki iz Evropske investicijske banke svetovali pri pripravi investicijske dokumentacije za izvedbo projekta preobrazbe daljinskega sistema v Šaleški dolini. Kako torej financirati tako obsežen projekt, kako ga pravilno speljati in kaj vse ponujajo Evropske banke za pomoč regijam v tranziciji, bosta spregovorila sogovornika iz Evropske investicijske banke najprej in kasneje predstavnik iz Evropske banke za obnovo in razvoj. Na oder najprej vabim predstavnika Evropske investicijske banke, doktorja Šarunasa Bruzge. Welcome.
Dobar dan. Hello everybody. My name is Šarūnas Bruzge. I'm an economist in the European Investment Bank. I'm located in Warsaw office in Poland of the bank. I work for the Energy Efficiency and Energy Advisory Division. I'm also in charge of the technical assistance, the new technical assistance facility I'll present you in a second, named Target. Also working with the other technical assistance facility, which is named Jaspers. So first of all, thank you very much for inviting me. It's my pleasure to be here and present you the topic today. The thing I want to talk to you about today is very important for transition. I mean, as already mentioned today, the transition itself requires many different aspects and it takes many different forms and points that needs to be addressed. Financing is one of them. However, for the financing to be efficient and to bring the results everybody is hoping for, we need good projects. So my subject today is to talk to you about the technical assistance instruments dedicated specifically for the assistance in preparation of the projects. And I'm glad that today I can present for you three technical assistance instruments: Target, Jaspers, and Elena. I'll just go, so this is the subject of my today's presentation. I'll go through all of them, and then in the end would be glad if you have any questions, would be glad to try and answer them. So the very first one, the latest one that we have created together with the colleagues from the European Commission, it's called Target, which stands for the Technical Assistance to Support Regions and the Energy Transition of the Regions. It was created just at the end of last year, so it's still a baby for us. So we are still teaching him to walk and to work. What it is dedicated for, what it is about. It's a technical assistance facility specifically dedicated for coal regions and two specific areas in the coal regions, namely clean energy and energy efficiency. The idea of the facility, as mentioned, is dedicated to the preparation of projects. So therefore, the main goal of the facility is to assist, identify, scope, and prepare mature projects that could be then implemented for financing. What is also important to say, we all often receive this question, the facility is free of charge for its beneficiaries because it has been paid by the European Commission and the European Investment Bank. What it is for, so what are the activities? Before moving on to activities, what important aspect to mention here is that the support from the facility is being provided. It's expert advice, expert services. So basically what the facility does, it allows you to make use of the EIB expertise. The EIB has a long-standing expertise in project preparation, project financing. So therefore, all the expertise that we have for the development of the projects, it's there for you to be used. We have a team of engineers, economists, state aid specialists if necessary, environmental specialists, which are there for you to use. So the support is being provided specifically by the EIB teams, developed and then created individually for each separate project. So it is we call it advisory services. So we are not providing any funding for the project, any funding for preparation of the project. So therefore, all the support that is being provided is provided by the EIB experts chosen specifically for the implementation of the project. And we have a large pool of experts depending on the specificities of the project. We have tailor-made approach, individual approach to each of the projects. Now, what are the support activities that Target could provide? So one of them is the identification of the project. From the very early stage, correct scoping of the project is very important. Because if the project is already decided how it should be implemented, where from, what sources, so there is actually not much need of the technical assistance advice, because there is not much you can actually influence or value add to the project preparation. Therefore, identification of the project, the scoping of the project from the very idea to the concrete project, we believe it is very important, and we are there to help you. Also provide guidance, various guidance depending on the possible sources of funding. Target, the good point about Target is that you can benefit from the support irrespective of the future sources of funding. It could be EU funds, named already today ERDF, Cohesion Fund, Just Transition Fund. It could be also national sources. It could be EIB loan, it could be a loan from any other bank. So therefore, we are here to help for the project preparation irrespective of the sources of funding. We provide guidance on how to prepare projects on the specific guidance, again, specific guidance depending on the individual needs of the sources of funding. For example, there are now envisaged new calls for projects from the Just Transition Fund. What would be the requirements still are being negotiated and decided now. So therefore, when it is decided, we will help to prepare projects specifically for the demands of the, for example, Just Transition Fund. There are many now various financing sources, as mentioned. So it's not always easy to find the right one. Therefore, one of the assistance where we could provide is actually to guide you and to help you to decide which source of funding could be best fit for your project. Not to mention, of course, the quality of the project. I mean, we'll be there with you in the whole development of the project, so to help to improve the project. So first of all, there will be a higher success rate to get the funding, but also the project will be more cost efficient and the economic benefit, and as was already a question today, I mean, will help to find the most cost benefit, the most beneficial solution from the cost benefit analysis point of view. Bring potential projects to mature level, increase their maturity from the early stages of the ideas to the prepared project. Capacity building of beneficiaries is also one of the important elements, and it's twofold, I might say, because we can provide separate individual capacity building activities, but I think the main point here is that while working together with you, we share the experience that we have from the other projects, from the other member states, from the other regions. So sharing of experience, working together with you, this I think is the crucial aspect of the capacity building. As the facility is new and of course the resources are always limited, if there is a need for further technical assistance, and for example Target cannot help you to end project preparation itself, because the preparation of the project might take a longer period of time, we also are perfectly aware of the other technical assistance instruments that we have in the bank. So therefore, if needed, we can help you as well get further technical assistance for the preparation of your project. Namely, for example, the two other initiatives that I will be presenting shortly. The last but not least, to say that we are able to support not only the public institutions, but private as well. Of course, the support is mainly dedicated for the, let's say, less developed regions, and the regions or municipalities which, let's say, might lack the resources necessary to prepare the project. So this is where the, let's say, the key target group of our support. The next technical assistance initiative, it's quite similar to Target, the one that I would like to present. It's way older one. It has been created back in 2005 and has been successfully working since then. Actually, Target was created on the basis of the Jasper support for the coal region in transition. So again, it's a partnership between the European Commission and the European Investment Bank. It's a way bigger instrument. As well, just like Target, it provides technical assistance supports, advisory services. So basically, the services are being then provided by the EIB experts working in the EIB. What are the, let's say, how does Jaspers work? What are the principles? So, as mentioned, Jaspers is a way older and bigger instrument. We have over 100 experts located in regional offices. I myself, I'm located in a regional office in Warsaw. So basically, we are located in the offices closer to you, so that we can be closer to you. We can help faster. The support is being provided basically for covering whole project cycle. And as mentioned already, the core expertise is the in-house expertise. So it's a hands-on approach with in-house expertise. So all of the support that we provide are mainly provided by the local experts. And as mentioned already for Target, the earlier the involvement, the higher the value added. So the earlier Jaspers experts are involved in the project preparation, the higher would be the potential impact. And then what are the services? What are the activities that Jaspers could provide? So it's as mentioned already, it's a support for the project preparation. Differently from Target, and the scope of the project support is way larger, and in terms of the sectors, I mean, basically all the sectors are covered. Not only energy is just part of the sectors. Jaspers can also provide horizontal advice on the strategy preparation, preparation of plans, basically policy making, preparation for the programs and schemes. Then selective support for the project implementation, because normally Jaspers experts are involved in the development of the project, not the implementation. And just like in Target, there is also a very strong capacity building element, so comprising both the sharing of the expertise during project implementation by working together, but as well by organizing its capacity building dedicated events. How does it work? Just like Target, it's free of charge for its beneficiaries. What else is important and very valued for Jaspers, and I hope this will be the same for Target, is that we are independent in our advice. What we have a, I would say, comfort that we can be independent to provide advice based on our best estimates, on our best understanding, not being dependent on, I don't know, if you hire consultants, so there is some sort of still influence, I mean, of the results that needs to be provided here, because we are again paid partly by the European Commission and the European Investment Bank. We are free to provide the advice. You might not always like it, but that would be the real advice, the true, let's say, the truth or the good advice. Also, quite often this is being used as well. That let's say, this is not us. This is Jasper's opinion. So also true, and sometimes it is used. So as mentioned already, Jaspers acts as a trusted advisor for the beneficiaries, basically providing high-level expertise, high-level advice to enhance the quality of the project. How do we stand together with the consultant? So we don't want to change the work of the consultant. So usually how Jaspers works is that, I mean, there are two teams. There is a Jaspers team and there is a consultants team preparing the project. What we do then is basically we take care that these consultants provide a good quality project. And then we provide comments, how the project should be prepared, how the project should be developed. And then in the end, giving our note saying that we believe that the project is correct, the project is right, project is wrong or not. Yeah, so the assistance is provided in good faith and with reasonable care and due diligence, basically drawing on the expertise of the European Investment Bank. And the last technical assistance instrument that I would like to present is Elena. Again, it's quite old and it has been created in 2009 and already been successfully working for a number of years. It's a bit different instrument, but it then could perfectly complement the other two. Because differently from from Jaspers or Target, Elena provides funding for project preparation. So it doesn't provide expert advice like Jaspers or Target, but it provides funding for you to prepare your projects. So it helps you to finance. You might create workspace, or employ new staff. You might hire consultants by using the funds provided by Elena. Just like other two instruments, it's a joint instrument between the European Investment Bank and the European Commission. And so far, already over 208 million has been awarded for project preparation, supporting in total over 7 billion of investment. How does it work? Where is the catch here? You know, free funds? No. So where is the catch? The point is that the idea of giving funds for project preparation is to have those projects later on implemented. So by receiving support, there is an obligation or commitment to invest into the project. As you can see here, the minimum investment amount of 30 million euro, which might be a complicated thing for a smaller municipalities. Nevertheless, it's been proved in many cases where projects could be combined. So it doesn't have to be a single project. It could be a combination of projects, or in other words, investment program. So the value of the investment program should be not less than 30 million euros. Again, what is important, the sources of funding of those 30 million doesn't matter. I mean, it could be any sources. It could be national sources, own sources, EU funds, EIB financing, other banks financing. The grant provided by Elena covers up to 90% of the cost of the project preparation. So the 10% is the needed co-financing from your own. There are no kind of dedicated calls for projects. Basically, it's on a first come, first served basis. Annually, the disbursement ranges between 30 and 50 million euros. There is a certain requirement for the maturity of the Elena projects. So it should be already clear what the project would entail, what the project would be. It's not that we just start searching for solutions or scope the project. So the project scope should be clear already when applying for Elena support. That's why we think that it could perfectly work in a combination, for example, with Target technical assistance. Because under Target, we can help scope the project, prepare the project, the project idea that will be mature enough, and then when the funds are necessary, let's say, to hire consultants to prepare the project documentation necessary for financing, Elena could come there, and there's a second part of the technical assistance, and finance and provide those funds. The obligation of investment implementation, so-called leverage factor. What does the leverage factor stands for? It's, for example, if the leverage factor is 2, so then 1 million of the technical assistance support, which means that you will need an investment program of at least 20 million. So it basically defines how much as a minimum your investment program should be. If this leverage is not achieved afterwards, you spend 1 million, implement a project of 5 million euros, the grant might be requested to be repaid. Then investment sources could be any, and then the time frame for project implementation. to keep it running is around 3 or 4 years of project implementation. So, and then the very last slide, what services could be purchased, let's say, with the support of the ELENA facility. So, for example, preparation of the feasibility studies, design studies, structuring of programs, business plans, energy audits, etc. Even set up and running of the project implementation unit. This could be all financed by ELENA facility. And on that, I stop here with my presentation. If you have if you need any more information, of course, you can always access the EIB website. Contact myself. My email is also at the end of the presentation. And for the time being, hvala. And I'll be glad if you have any questions. I'll try to answer them. Thank you.
Ima morda kdo kakšno vprašanje za našega govorca? No questions for now. You told everything, it looks like. Thank you very much. Torej, hvala lepa. Kakšne finančne instrumente pa ponuja Evropska banka za obnovo in razvoj premogovnim regijam, nam bo predstavil predstavnik, ki se bo vključil online. Z nami je magister Greg Gebrejl, višji strokovnjak za energetiko na področju politike trajnostne infrastrukture in priprave projektov, zaposlen pri Evropski banki za obnovo in razvoj. Mr. Gebrejl, welcome. Welcome. The word is yours.
Thank you very much. So thank you to the city of Velenje for organizing this event and inviting me to speak. And I believe that was an introduction you gave to me. So thank you for that. So yes, I'm an energy specialist here at the EBRD. I'm not a banker. I quite like telling people that. I'm an engineer. So what I do is I work across the energy sectors that the bank supports, but most of my time and attention is spent on district energy, district heating, which I understand is everybody's main focus today. So what I do is I provide policy and technical support to my banking colleagues, and I'm the focal point for district heating in the bank. So I'll just set up my presentation, but what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk to you about how the EBRD invests in district energy and how we're working to integrate more low carbon solutions in those markets that we work in. It's challenging, as well as some of the support programs that we have, and I'll also share some case studies of some successful projects that we've done. So I assume that everybody can see my presentation now, but somebody shout at me if you cannot. And I would also say I would very much like to have been there with you in person. I apologize, but I'm grounded here in London this week due to other commitments. But my very capable colleague, Miha Palik, he's there in person. So Miha, if you're there in the crowd, please give them a wave. Assume you're waving to them. So Miha is a banker. So please direct all your challenging money and banking questions related over to him. So I believe many of you are familiar with the EBRD. We're a little bit of a different bank. We were established in 1991, principally to aid the former Warsaw Pact countries and the former Soviet Union as they transitioned from planned economies to well-functioning market economies. So officially, our mission is to develop open and sustainable market economies in countries that are committed to and applying democratic principles. And give you an idea of our scale, in 2021, we lent around 10 billion euro. And in the district energy sector, we have a big portfolio of projects, and we've lent or invested over 850 million euro. So this shows the countries where the bank is active and where we can make investments or lend funds. And this map, it very much reflects the focus I described at the time of our founding, which was on Central and Eastern Europe and the former Soviet Union. So today we're active in 39 countries, and we expanded to some warmer and more southern climates, which include the Middle East and North Africa. And I should note as well that we are no longer active in Russia and Belarus, given their role in the invasion of Ukraine. So our only operations that remain there, they're focused on winding down our previous investments there. Now, we have some specific objectives for the district energy sector, and these reflect our mission as a bank. So, as you can imagine, in the countries that we work in, there are some challenges. So, in addition to lending money, so supporting the sector with financing, we are also mandated to support reforms and operational improvements in the sector. So when we look at the district heating sector in our region, there's two big things that stand out. So the infrastructure is old, it has high investment needs, and in its current form, it's currently very fossil fuel intensive, very dependent on fossil fuels. This may not necessarily be applicable to Slovenia, but there's also a need for widespread tariff and regulatory reform in many of the countries we work in to improve the performance of the sector or modernize it effectively. So in addition to lending money and receiving that money back with interest eventually, the bank also wants to see positive reforms made in the sector. And right now, our priorities are accelerating the green transition in the sector and ensuring safe, stable supplies of energy. And the heating sector, it's heat energy. And we believe these two aims are very much complementary. I also will take advantage of this opportunity to promote some of our work. We also produce policy papers that are free for everyone to download, covering topics in the sector. You'll see images of these on the right. And they may be of interest to participants, so I will share some links to these at the end of my presentation. So in light of the above, here's how we approach financing district energy projects with our loan or financing models shown from left to right here. So these span from fully sovereign loans. This is where funds are lent to a national government to finance the needed project work. And on the other end of the spectrum, this goes to fully private loans, which are either in the form of corporate loans or a model that's known as project finance. But in between these two ends, we see our most common structure in the sector, which is the sub-sovereign loan, where our typical client would be a city or a city-owned utility that would be with a city guarantee. And these loans would often come with a CapEx grant component from one of our donors. So for these public sector clients, we normally provide assistance with preparing these projects, so upfront feasibility assistance, and then we assist with implementation through, for instance, project implementation unit support. And this support is normally funded by our donors, depending on the country or region that we're working. And at a country level, sometimes a city level as well, we also engage in policy dialogue to encourage reforms that we want to see in the positive reforms in the sector. I believe that just transition, given the location of the conference, has been discussed quite a bit. So I want to say that the bank the bank also offers further support in the form of its own Just Transition initiative, which is focused on such regions that have heavy fossil fuel dependent economies and are expecting to undergo significant changes. So policy and technical cooperation support is available, as well as financing and the mobilization of concessional funds or grants to support projects in these regions. Although I have to admit, it's not on the same scale as my colleague from EIB is presenting. Now, I understand that a number of the participants there are from the 6 countries of the Western Balkans. So I also want to take the opportunity afforded here to promote one of our support programs that's targeted at your region. So this is the Renewable District Energy in the Western Balkans Fund, ReadyWeb for short. And ReadyWeb is one of our flagship prominent funds. It's exclusively focused on increasing the levels of renewable or waste heat-based energy that will be utilized in district energy systems in the Western Balkans. It's been generously supported by grant funds from our Austrian government, donor funds. The fund can support project preparation, so upfront feasibility, as well as supporting policy support and specific capacity building works. And there's a special focus in the fund on solar thermal technology, also known as solar district heating, as there is a great opportunity for this technology in the region of the Western Balkans. So we have a very enthusiastic fund manager named Bojan Bogdanovic. He's based in Belgrade. He'd be very happy to receive queries and eager to pursue projects in this area. So please feel free to follow up with myself or Miha on this. And the fund has been in place for a couple of years now, so we have an exciting pipeline of projects under development. And this includes a solar thermal project, large-scale solar thermal district heating project in Pristina, developed in partnership with KfW, heat pump-based projects in Serbia and Bosnia, as well as some large-scale biomass opportunities. Now, also want to present some examples of recent projects that we've supported to give you an idea of our work in the sector, our work on the ground. Now, a project that we're very proud of is with our long-term client in Valts, which is one of the largest cities in Moldova. So previously in Valts, we funded a project that was focused on modernizing the Valts district heating system's generation plant. So that project was focused on installing modern, best-in-class gas engine technology and introducing a limited amount of biomass-based capacity to the system. There was also a small amount of demand-side measure scope in the project. So this was a very successful project, transformed their generation system. And so building on the success of this project, we worked with the client to support a second phase, this time focused more on the demand side. So in this phase 2 project, we supported the installation of individual heating substations, the reconstruction of building level heating systems. So the focus will be on changing the, moving away from the old vertical style of networks in buildings and installing horizontal networks alongside the reinstatement of domestic hot water supply. Like some other networks in the region, domestic hot water supply was discontinued during the turbulent period in the 90s. So alongside that, there's also going to be installation of individual smart heating meters in individual apartments, as well as thermal storage and digitalization tools and scope. So in this project, one of the key things that we're very proud of is the implementation of this apartment level consumption-based billing. This is one of the bank's major policy objectives for the district energy sector, and it's something that's unfortunately lacking in many of the countries that we work in. So In addition to these good policy aspects, the project will result in a reduction of CO2 by around 23,000 tons, so 30% reduction on baseline. As it's a very good project, our donors were happy to support it. There was generous donor support from the Green Climate Fund and the E5P Multilateral Donor Fund. That's a fund that also works with the EIB. And another reason that we're proud of the project is that it won our bank's top sustainability prize. So it won the Gold Award in the sustainable energy category. And a project that may be a bit closer to home for some of the guests there. So this is another recent project that we supported, a renewable one, that again demonstrates a number of the objectives of what we do. So this is the Banja Luka district heating project in Banja Luka in Bosnia. So in this project, the bank lent funds to the city of Banja Luka to support their purchase of equity in a new joint venture company that was set up there, Eco Toplana. And the company was set up to provide district heating services and to build a brand new biomass-based generation plant in the city. So previously, almost all the heat in Banja Luka, in the Banja Luka district heating system, was produced by mazout or heavy fuel oil-based plant, with the exception of some small-scale biomass. But today, we're very proud that over 95% of heat supply, the last time I checked, is from renewable sources. So as a part of this project as well, there was a new full cost recovery tariff structure that was put in place. The company was adhering to all of the relevant EBRD environmental and social requirements, and all of the plant and machinery was, of course, in line with the EU VAT requirements. So building on this successful project, we're engaging with that client further to improve their work on the demand side, to improve their network and substations, reducing their demand for heat, improving their energy efficiency, as well as with ReadyWeb support, investigating some opportunities in the city to utilize heat pumps to take advantage of some identified sources of waste heat in the area. So that brings me to the end. I want to wrap things up and say that at the EBRD, we very much we want to do interesting and challenging projects. So like I said, we're focused on decarbonization, improving security of supply in the sector. So we're very eager to fund and support low carbon technologies such as renewable and waste heat based generation, as well as the very necessary network and demand side improvements that are needed to reduce losses, to reduce operating temperatures, and to facilitate the use of more low temperature heat sources like heat pumps in district heating networks. So we work very closely with the public sector. We'll continue to do so, but we can and we want to work with private sector partners. And we want to back up our objectives with more than just money. So we'll keep working with governments, industry, trade associations, and bodies like the Energy Community Secretariat, regional groups like that, to promote positive reforms and encourage more decarbonized district energy. So thank you, and I'm happy to take questions if there are any from the crowd there.
Much. Ima kdo kakšno vprašanje? Are there any questions? Yes, we have one question.
I'll just stop sharing my screen so I can see you better.
Actually, I do have a question for the guy from EIB. I'm sorry because I missed the opportunity and he finished the presentation. Just about eligibility of getting the support. is it possible for non-EU countries to apply for technical assistance? Because I didn't see that, I didn't saw that from your presentation. Thanks.
Thank you very much for the question, but unfortunately, it's for the EU member states for the time. I mean, if we talk about Jasper's assistance, so there are also for the candidate member states. So in EU, I mean, just Jasper's, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So you got the answer. You answered. We have a little problem with the how do you say this in English? Z ozvočenjem se ne rabim po angleško, točno. Upam, da ste slišali dobro, kakšen je bil odgovor. Ima morda še kdo kakšno vprašanje? Ne. Mr. Gabriel, thank you very much for your presentation and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Tako, s tem smo zaključili drugi panel, pred nami pa je tretji panel, ki je namenjen pregledu drugih evropskih mest in sicer kako se soočajo z zagotavljanjem toplotne energije po premogu. Danes bomo spoznali 3 primere, začeli pa bomo s primerom francoskih mest, ki so postavila solarne teplarne. Primer bosta predstavila magister Hugues de Freville, generalni direktor in soustanovitelj podjetja Newhit in predstavnik francoskega združenja daljinskih sistemov Jean-François Mugard, ki se nam bo priključil online takoj po prvem govorcu. Magister Hugues de Freville, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. So thank you very much for this opportunity today and for everybody that helps to organize this event, the city of Velenje, and also Mr. Mayor. Thank you very much for this opportunity to present our small experience in how to decarbonize district heating, and especially we'll focus on one of our projects. It's not the biggest one, but maybe one where we are the most proud, because it's maybe the most innovative project that we've made in France, so in the city of Pont. Just maybe to quickly present myself, so my name is Hugues de Freville, I am the CEO and co-founder of Newhit. At the start of my career, I was working during 10 years to develop renewable electricity project, and since 6 years I decided to create Newhit to provide renewable heat solution based mainly on solar thermal, waste heat recovery, and also innovative heat storage solution. And for this presentation today, I'm happy to be with Jean-François Mugard, which is one of our customer and our partner for this project in Pont. I don't know if you hear us, Jean-François? No, I'm not sure.
Yes.
Hello, Jean-François. I don't know if you want to.
Hello, Hugues.
To present yourself.
Hello, everybody. Well, okay. Simply, I'm working for a public service, and since 20 years, I'm working for district heating networks, especially on biomass, geothermy, and solar ones too, with Newhit, of course, a nice company, and we have worked on the Pont city, where we have a good challenge because in Pont you have a lot of gas consumptions, and it was a great opportunity to test the solar system with Newhit. That's good.
Perfect, thank you. So maybe go back to the presentation. So maybe just a small word concerning district heating. We have already been talking a lot about this area. As you probably know, 48% of the heat consumption in the European Union is for heating the buildings and the houses. So of course it's one of the main challenges to decarbonize our city. In Europe you have various situations. You have some countries where district heating are well developed, especially in the north of Europe. You have countries like Denmark or Finland where more than 50% of the population is connected to a district heating network. In France, for example, you only have 5% of the population that is connected to the district heating network. So we have a lot of work to do to develop these networks. And also concerning the integration of renewable heat into these networks, in France we are not so bad, because I think that today 60% of the heat into this district heating are from renewable or waste recovery solution. So it's pretty good. But there is still room to improve and go to 100%. So clearly in France, to have a quick look at the situation, the idea is to develop this district heating and to add some new solution for renewable heat. So maybe to go into the context of the city of Pont, I will start presenting, and Jean-François, if you want to comment and to add something, do not hesitate to stop me. So Pont, we are in the southwest of France. We are in the area of the cognac production. So it's a city of 6,000 inhabitants, people. So there is a small heating network. We are talking about 5 gigawatt-hour of consumption per year, and which is delivering heat to mainly public buildings, school, swimming pool, but also a few housing for elderly, for students. And so there is a network that is operated by a private company, a subsidiary of EDF, which is not so private, but just call it a private company. And so the situation of the heat production is that today, for this network, before project, the initial situation was they have a biomass boiler for the winter season that is used as base load, but the biomass boiler cannot be used during the summer period because we are getting too low in terms of demand, and the biomass boiler cannot operate without degrading a lot its performance. So today, before the project, all the summer period was only provided by gas, used by gas boiler. So the idea and the problematic was to reduce the share of fossil gas, which was before the project around 27% of fossil gas. I don't know, Jean-François, if you want to add something concerning the initial situation of the city.
You're perfect.
Perfect, thank you. I think you will give your comment maybe at the end on what is the main results and of this project and what you think for your city. So if we go back to the presentation, so the question of the city and Jean-François was what could we do to improve the situation? The first solution can be to add a new biomass, a small one for the summer. It could be an option, but of course there is a question about the resource of wood. It's not unlimited, and it costs to buy biomass. And also there is a question of air quality, especially during the summer period when with a lot of sun and the hot weather, this kind of issues increase. Another solution is, of course, waste heat recovery or geothermal potential, but sadly in the area there is no potential for these networks. So then what can we do? Of course, heat pumps. We have already talked a lot about heat pumps, but the question of heat pump, we are talking about electricity, electrification. But what will be the price of electricity in a few years? Today, you are burning gas, which is pretty expensive, and tomorrow you will use electricity, but what will be the price of electricity, and especially green electricity? So is there another solution? And what about solar thermal? So that's why we met Jean-François and his team. It was start of 2018. It was during a site visit in Denmark, which is the country in Europe which is the leader in solar thermal, with more than 1,000 megawatts of solar thermal plant connected to district heating network. And then we had the idea of this project to build a solar thermal plant in the city of Po. So just a quick reminder about solar thermal. So we are not talking about solar PV, just be clear. I know that we have a few experts of district heating here today, so I hope that you see the difference, but clearly today the main focus is on electricity, renewable electricity, and solar PV is everywhere in Europe, and especially in France. So solar thermal, it's not the same technology. We are only heating water with a simple metal plate with water that is running at the back, insulated, of course. And with this kind of solution, we can go up to 80, 90, even 100 degrees with a very good efficiency. Let's talk about efficiency. With a solar thermal collector, we can use the global solar irradiation, so we can reach 80% of efficiency, when with solar PV, you have the photovoltaic effects, and you can only reach a 50 to 20% efficiency when we are talking about commercial solar PV panels. So we can produce 4 times more energy with the same area of collectors. Clearly, we are talking about low technology, and we'll see it later. It's also local jobs, because solar thermal collectors are today produced in Europe, and because of the cost and the cost of the transport, it will remain in Europe. So a few arguments concerning to explain why solar heat is the most virtuous energy source. First topic about the land use. Of course, solar thermal, we will need some land to put the collectors, but like I said before, we are 4 times more efficient than solar PV. And if we compare to biomass, with 1 hectare of solar thermal plant, you will produce as much as energy as 40 hectares of forest that is cut down every 30 years to produce energy with biomass. So it is efficient. Then there is a carbon footprint, and we have the best carbon footprint. We are talking about less, around 10 to 15 kilogram of CO2 per megawatt of emission when we are talking the whole life of the plant. And like I said before, energy independence. We do not need any source of energy outside of the sun, and local jobs, because these components are today produced in Europe. So before getting more detail, technical detail in the project and going into the contractual arrangement, we have a small video of the construction phase, a 2-minute video. So if the technical team is ready. Okay, perfect. So you've seen the whole construction phase with the different components of the plant. We will just make a small description of this plant and how it works. I will not go into too much technical detail. If you have any question, we will be there with my colleagues the whole day, so do not hesitate. So just to explain how it works and how it is connected to the grid. The project and the solar thermal plants that we have built, it's kind of a 3-in-1 solution. First, during the summer, the solar thermal plant will be the main producer of the district 18 network. So we will bypass the biomass boiler and the gas boiler, and we will produce heat at the right temperature needed by the network. That is the first solution. Second solution is during the winter season. There is still some sun, and you have the solar plant that is built, so you need to use it. But you know, when the sun is not so high, not so powerful, it's hard to get the right temperature if you need 80 or 90 degrees. That's why we have the possibility with this project to preheat the return pipe of the networks. So, for example, if the water is coming back to the boiler to 70 degrees, we can go up 1 or 2 degrees, and we will save energy from biomass and from gas with that. And these two type of integration will allow us to reduce to increase the production during the year about 15 to 20%. So it's not a small option. And the last mode is that, like you've seen in the film, we have put in place a heat storage, and the heat storage can also be used by the biomass during the winter period, especially during the peak demands, for example, during the cold mornings when everybody wants to get warm in his house. Before they will need to use gas burner for the peak demand, but with this storage we can reduce again the use of gas. So the components of the solar thermal plant, you have the solar thermal field. So like I said, it's not the biggest one that we've made at Newit, it's even the smallest one, but it's very specific because we decided to use tracking system, so which is pretty new for flat plate collectors, and there is two objectives for that. First, we will optimize production. You know, at the morning we are facing east, and during the day the collectors will move, and at the end of the day we will be facing west. So you are increasing the production during the year around 20 to 25%. Of course, it costs a little bit more because you have to buy and to build the tracking system. But the other positive aspect is concerning the prevention of overheating. For example, if you have a problem in the network and that you cannot provide your solar heat, at the end you will have a problem. You cannot shut down the sun, and so what can you do? And the idea with the tracking system is that we can make a modulation of the power of the plant with the angle between the collectors and the sun. So we can reduce the power of the sun into the collectors to reduce the temperature if there is an issue in the network, for example, and that's pretty important in solar thermal. The storage tank, we have very important in solar thermal. Of course, it allows us to sell heat even during the night. We have designed a tank that will be able to store heat for 3 to 5 days of full production of solar production during the summer period, which allows us to reach around 100% of coverage during the summer season. Even if you have 3 or 4 days of rainy days during the summer, you will have your storage to produce heat to the networks. What is important in this storage is not so simple. You need which is very important, is not mixing the temperature inside the heat storage, because the low temperature, the fresh water is more dense, so it's at the bottom of the tank, and the high temperature at the top, and you don't want to mix it, because of course you will sell the most heat, the most high heat to the network. So it's not so easy, so you need to use some stratification system to make sure that you're not mixing the temperature. It works for storage tank, but also it's the same issue for the large storage solution that maybe we'll be able to talk about later. And then you have the pumping and control station, where all of the intelligence is concentrated, because like we have seen, it's pretty simple, solar thermal. You have simple collectors, pipes, pumps, you have storage. But what is complicated is to control everything. And all of the control of the plant is clearly the main issue of solar thermal plant, and that is basically the job of NEWIT, to define the control for each project. A quick view of the remote control we have of the plant, because 100% of the plant can be piloted in remote, so we do not to be on site. Of course, if there is some technical issue, we will need to come and to make some maintenance, but 100% of the solution can be remote controlled. So maybe just, we are close to the end of the presentation. Maybe one very important topic is about the contractual arrangement and the business model of this project, which I think is one of the main points and what maybe of the most innovative parts of this project. So our model at NEWIT is to invest ourselves in the project. So it's clearly a third-party investment model where we create a specific company, SPV, a special purpose vehicle, which owns the asset of the solar thermal plant. And it will be this company, which is a subsidiary of NEWIT, that will sell the heat to the district heating network. We are talking about a heat purchase agreement, so this contract. Of course, it's a really heavy contract because we will need commitment for 25 years from the networks, with commitment on the temperature level, on the consumption level. So in this case, we signed this contract with dalje, which is the district heating operator, but also with the city because of the length of the contract. So our job at NEWIT is to invest in the project. Of course, to be competitive, today we need some subsidies. For this project in France, we had some national support from the French ADEME, but also the local region around Bordeaux. And also we had some local investors that took minority share in the project. That is also something feasible. And NEWIT was in charge of the global development and all of this contractual arrangement. So just the conclusion of the project. So in the energy part, thanks to solar thermal, so it's been 1 year that the project is up and running. So today we are reaching our target in terms of performance, so it's really good news. And we will make the calculation at the end of the year, but we will reach around 92 to 95% of renewable heat for the network. So with biomass, as you can see, mostly in the winter period, and solar for the summer period. So, and it is the third largest solar thermal project for district heating in France. Yeah, concerning the economical part, so the global investment of the project, we are talking about a little bit less than 1.5 million euros. The public support is pretty heavy. You know, this kind of project is really capex intensive, a lot investment, but very low OPEX, because we do not need to buy gas or biomass. It's pretty low in OPEX. So we need subsidies for investment to be able to reach an interesting price. So the price of heat, when we design and when we decide this project, it was in 2019. I don't know if you remember, but in 2019, the price of gas, for example, was really, really cheap. It was even lower in 2020. It was around 5 euros per megawatt hour. Today, it's 20 times higher. So, of course, today, we were competitive in 2019. So, of course, today, I'm sure that you understand that we are really very, very competitive compared to a fossil fuel solution. So I don't know, Jean-François, maybe it's the time for if you want to give your feedback on this project.
Yes, my feedback. we have to think about not only the share of well, biomass was 73% and gas 27%, so the share for CO2 was not very good. But in fact, we have to think in value. And as Hugh tells us, today, with the price of fossil energy, this kind of solution now are much more interesting for the consumer. And the bill of the consumer is, of course, for public service, the most important thing. Today, the stability of the price of the energy is the selling point of our network. And last week, a local industrial pastry accept to connect the network, and 60 social housings decided to connect the local network. So the reason why economic, we are able now to tell the customers the price will be low during decades, and that's a very important argument now to sell this kind of energy. During 25 years, the energy will be sold at a contracted price to the district heating. But in 26 years, the price of the energy will be very, very low, because all the facilities will be amortized, so that the price will be only the free sun. And that's a very important thing. I don't know if I have other things to tell to you, but that's a great event in our local place to have this solar plant. It's a very nice creation. I'm proud of that.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Jean-François. And so I think in terms of time, we already a little bit late, so thank you very much. If you have any questions, do not hesitate. Maybe later during the day, we'll be there with my colleagues, so do not hesitate if you have any question on this project.
Thank you very much to both speakers. Tako je, glede na časovnico moramo naprej z naslednjimi govorci. Če boste imeli kakršnokoli vprašanje za gospoda De Frevilla, pa med kosilom, ki bo sledil po še dveh govorcih. Drugi primer, ki ga bomo danes poznali, prihaja iz našega prijateljskega mesta, Prijevica, kjer zapirajo rudnik že naslednje leto. Torej morajo prebivalcem do konca leta 2023 ponuditi drugo rešitev ogrevanja. Z nami je inženir rudarstva Karsten Ivan, vodja projektov za transformacijo premogovniške regije. Gospod Karsten, dobrodošli. Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear Major of the city Velenje, dear guests, dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for opportunity to show you my presentation of our company Upper Nitra coal mines in Prievidza in Slovakia. In Slovakia, not in Slovenia. Yeah? First slide is symbolical. This is so-called all coal power plant in Handlova. In former times, the biggest coal power station in whole Slovakia. It was 30 megawatts output of the electricity. The most important actual heat source in Upper Interregion is symbolically here on those pipelines. Those pipelines is outflow of the mine water and hydrothermal water from the boreholes. This is the overview of our company collieries. Nováky on the left upside is still under production. Handlova mine was stopped its production of the lignite previous year in October, November. This one is small mine in western Slovakia, not in our region, but is also in ownership of our company. And right side down is the colliery of Cigel, where what was closed 3 years ago. But Nováky mine, Handlova mine and Cigel mine are having the big potential of the production of renewable energy. This is the actual overview of the conventional energy. That means energy from the coal or lignite produced in a region. All coal from which is mined in our company is delivered to the Nováky power station, where is two 110 megawatt electric blocks and one 48 megawatt blocks with fluid bed boiler, which produces the heat central heating system for town Nováky, Prievidza and part of village of Zemianske Kostolany. But important information is that the production of the heat energy and also electricity energy from this power station will end in year 2023, that means next year, which means also we must prepare the new heat source for the region. Also, we're having a small power station in Handlova mine, which is a reserve for fish farm, about what I will talk later. So this is the unconventional energy sources, renewable heat and electricity in our region. Solar farms, solar electricity farms can be installed on the power station, and mining company ash piles. And this in Slovenské elektrárne, that means Slovak Power Station Company, can produce about 40 megawatt of electricity per hour from the solar cells, and HBP company, there is written 20 megawatts, but in fact after last calculation in our company HBP can be produced from the solar about 30 megawatts per hour. Important thing is also storage of the energy. In project of HBP company, that means mining company, is calculated also about 6 to 8 megawatt battery storage. Thermosolar field, which was presented from a colleague from the French, was calculated in new hybrid Cigel coal mine. That this thermosolar field can produce about 2 megawatts heat per hour. Another energy sources are low capacity geothermal sources, that means mine waters. Typical temperature is 16 to 20 degrees of Celsius. From Handlova mine, from Cigel mine. On those two mines is water outflowing by the gravity. And Novaki mine, the mine water must be pumped from the depth of 300 meters to the surface. But any mine can produce during year 100 liters per second in average. That means this heat potential heat source is about 4 megawatts of heat per hour. We have in our region also medium temperature geothermal sources, that means geothermal wells. Our company was drilled 4 of them. Only 2 of them are used now. Typically is outflowing from those boreholes about 55 to 66 degrees Celsius hot water in amount up to 20 liters per second, which generates also 4 to 6 megawatts per hour. Another typical source of heat energy in our region are the biomass boilers. That means fuel wood boilers in Handlova and Cigel mines. In Cigel mine, this boiler room will be used in hybrid new source energy for Prievidza, as I will show you in the next slides. And small water power stations, you cannot read it because the inscription is on this mark. When we use the mine waters for heat, then is about average 30 meters below the creek, so we can use this energy also for producing small amount of the electrical energy. That means about 40 to 60 kilowatts per hour. Now I will talk about our references, because our company, our mining company, is providing renewable energy for planting of the tomatoes, for planting of the fishes. Those are the basic data about our glass house company. It is built in area one of the ventilation shafts where is pumped to the surface mine water, and where is also the geothermal well. So installed heat pumps capacity is 1.6 megawatt heat from mine water, and 2 times 550 kilowatt heat of geothermal energy with panel heat exchanger. Control system is automatic per computers. Savings of the CO2 equivalent on 12 years of production is more than 150,000 tons of CO2. And production of this combined solar and geothermal source of energy is 1,200 metric tons of the different sorts of tomatoes. Another possibility that we use in Handlova mine, local geothermal energy, is the fish farm, which is built directly on the area of the coal mine, which was closed 1 year ago. This fish farm is running 7 years now. Construction was 1 year completely. On the bottom of this is the fish farm, and this is small greenhouses because we have in farm is produced on the bacterial cleaning of the waters after the fishes, 1 megawatt of heat per hour. So we use this energy also for heating of the small 0.3 hectare greenhouses. Data you can read through. There on this farm is produced about 850 metric tons of the fish meat per year. CO2 savings are about 100,000 tons of CO2 equivalent. So now we are getting to the new hybrid heat sources for central heating system in Upper Nitra region. It will be combined with mine water energy, solar heating energy, small combined heat and power energy, and during winter season will be part of the energy coming from the natural gas boilers. This is the typical diagram of the consumption of heat power in Prievidza. Prievidza is actually 45,000 inhabitants town, biggest town in the region. Their consumption, typical consumption through the year is about 45 megawatts per hour when the winter is strong. That means we have different sources planned in this hybrid source. Yellow one is the natural gas boiler room. Then we need maximally to the April and started typically in September. This is the yellow one. Green one is the biomass heat source in Ziegel mine. This is the existing boiler room. The brown is the water-to-water heat pumps, means heat observed or coming from the mine waters. Orange one is cogeneration unit, 1 megawatt, and gray are the heat losses. Overview in the maps, how looks the existing system now. Power station Novaki is outside of this map, but it is connected to the Prievidza town with 8 kilometers long pipeline, dimension 500 millimeters. Now we're planning the new heat source in this mine, Ziegel mine, so we must build up also the new connection to the existing heat pump. Whole project of the new heat source is designed with company PTH, that means Prievidza Heating Company, where is ownership of 51% of town and 49% of the mining company. But those new heat sources will be on mines, former mines. This is the overview, aerial view to the mine Ziegel. How is projected this hybrid new source? I have lost. Oh, yeah. There is outflow point where is the mine water outflowing from the mine. There will be pumping station, 4 megawatts of heat per hour. On the former heap of coal in 2 hectares is planned thermosolar system, and there is existing biomass boiler room with 2 boilers, each 3 megawatts. System is functioning this way, that outflowing mine water is pumped to the solar field. Then after is used as a cooling media for cogeneration unit, and then after is the heat absorbed with heat pumps. This is other aerial view. The red crosses means those buildings are now destroyed. There is nothing actually, but some of the buildings will be used. For example, this biomass boiler room, this coal heap, former coal heap flat for thermosolar field, and there will be cogeneration unit and heat pumps building. Other source must be built for town Novaki, because also part of town Novaki, there is in vicinity of the power station Novaki, is heated from this existing central heating system. So we prepare also hybrid new source on AB shaft. You can see the previous showed the glass houses. They are used mining water and geothermal water, and on the flat is prepared the new project of the biomass boiler room and using of the mining water. On the next slide is the plan of this. Existing shaft, ventilation shaft is here and here. And on this place will be built the new about 6 megawatts of heat producing heating central station. The last one that we must prepare for next small part of the village, Zemjanske Kostovany, which is also in direct vicinity of existing coal power station. It is only small part, one part of the village that is connected to the existing central heating tubes. There is planned using of the natural gas boiler, because that is most easier solution, and on the second phase will be installed 400 kilowatt of heat pump water, which will use the heat for heating of the water used during the summer season. Cost of this small one is 1 million euros. We have a lot of other projects, but my time is slowly getting out, so I will get through. It's a biomass project. Then we will use also extension this greenhouses farm. We have plans also for extension of fish farm, and we will use our next geothermal well for central heating of small area of our company. Of course, on the used former mining fields, we will use the local possibilities. That means fruit farms. We will use also this used geothermal water for bottling, for normal selling as a potable water, and a lot of other plans. Thank you for your attention. Of course, the next question that will be from you will be how will be savings the prices for people, for price of the heat when we stop the delivery of the heat from coal mine and coal power station. Actually, price for 1 megawatt of heat in Prievidza is about 130 euros per megawatt. We planned for savings about 15%, but those plans were started 2 years ago. That means prices of the natural gas, prices of the electricity will destroy this original plan. But we think we will obtaining the same price for people like is this 130 euros per megawatt. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the questions. Za vsa vprašanja med kosilom, kajti s časovnico moramo naprej. So during the lunch, I hope you will be available for all the questions from the audience. Thank you very much, Mr. Karsten. In še zadnji primer, ki ga bomo spoznali, prihaja iz Danske, mesto Aalborg, ki bo iz premoga izstopilo leta 2027. Današnji govorec je magister Alex Sogard Moreno, portfolio manager, zavod Green Hub Denmark, občina Aalborg. Welcome to the stage.
Yeah, so thank you very much for this opportunity to come here to speak. I've been told that we are already a bit behind schedule, so I'll try to speed up. District heating in Denmark, as it's already been mentioned earlier, is quite developed. And we have to start thinking about how to develop that in the future, but I'll come back into that in the last slides. Just a very short introduction to Aalborg in northern Denmark, who we are. Not that small, not that big of a city, 222,000 in the municipality, 120,000 in the city. Quite many companies, small companies primarily, a lot of students. We are a student town, around 25-30% of all people in the town are students. We are a growing city, so a lot of people come to Aalborg to study, and then they stay there, establish a family, and live there for the rest of their lives. Just some more data before I will skip through to the next thing, which is the most important thing. Aalborg used to be an industrial city. I have an old picture here of the old power plant, which is to the right, just in the city center. For those of you who already visited Aalborg, and there were a couple of guys on the decarb project were there last year. This is how it looked, but we changed that. So Aalborg is an industry, it's a city that is grown on industry. And that is the foundation of who we are today. A couple of examples of who we are. It's the Portland factory to the left. This is our cement factory. I'll get back to that because they are very important to us. We have the shipyard, not there anymore. We used to. We have the aquavit, which is the snaps, which is the spirits that we produce in the north. And then we have a fertilizer factory. Today it looks like this. The shipyard is gone. The old aquavit factory is now a modern urban area, of course, all supported by district heating. So the reason why I brought you this picture is simply just a screen jump from Google Maps. It's not so much about the numbers you can see, it is more about the, let's see if that is the one, the area that you can see here with the artificial lake. This is where we have the factory producing cement. So this is actually groundwater. It is always cold. As you can see, the lake is blue and the surroundings is white. And the reason for that is that they dig up the chalk, and the chalk is used to produce white cement. That's why the factory is located there. They are using a lot of energy to have that factory at that specific point, but it is quite important to the city when it comes to district heating. But I'll get back to that in just 2 slides. So just some facts about district heating in Denmark. It's been said before, 65% of all houses in Denmark are connected to a district heating system, primarily in the cities. We have the rural areas that have an individual heating still. Typically that is wood pillars or natural gas, could also be oil, but not that much. Aalborg, we have 81%. We are a combined rural and city municipality, so we have both. But all the houses within the city are connected to the grid. So that's 100%. My key message to you guys today is the dot number 3, the Industrial Symbiosis. That is very important to us because we use all the local resources that we have and put that into the energy system. So, for example, the Portland factory, the cement factory, supports us with 28% of all the heat that we need in the city. Our incineration plants support us with another 25%. So they need to do this thing anyway. They need to produce the cement, they need to burn the waste. So already 50%, a bit more than 50% are already covered. So we only need to come up with the remaining 47% from another energy resource, which at the moment still is coal-fired power plant. It will be shut down in 2028. At least that's the ambition. Let's wait and see. So of course they have to replace 500 megawatts of coal with something else. And for the moment they look into to that being heat pumps. Another important thing to understand how things work in Denmark is that the majority of the district heating companies, they are non-profit. So they are normally driven as a private company, but they are typically owned by the consumers or the customers or the city, municipality. So the reason why that is a good thing is that they don't need to make money. And all the profit they have, they need to reinvest that into developing the system, lowering the price for the consumers, or expanding the network. So this is very, very important to understand what we call the Danish model. So they are not there for the money, they are there to expand or to keep the prices low. This is very, very important. Just one of the last slides here, which I talked about the symbiosis. So you can see, unfortunately that's in Danish, but the power plant, the utility company that we also have the new hospital being built. This is the AUH symbol you see in the bottom there. Getting back to the lake that I showed you before, that is always cold due to the fact that it is a natural insulator. Chalk is naturally insulated. So this means that we have always cold water there. So we are looking into using district cooling there to the new hospital. Of course, they would have a lot of technologies, a lot of servers that needs to be cooled, and they use that with an existing cold source. So we don't need energy to cool the water because it's already there. The same thing with the Portland factory, which you see in the middle. They already generate a lot of heat, and they can sell that to the utility company at a low price because it's surplus heat. And so the Portland factory don't need it. So we have this symbiosis you can see here. And we have different types of companies contributing to that. Both the port, the utility company, also small entrepreneurs, and so on and so forth. So we use all the companies who has an extra product of something. The utility company will buy that, making sure that it gets into the district heating system, keeping the prices low already. And also it's an extra business, you can say, for a company, let's say a company, engineering company producing some sort of machinery, their surplus heat, they don't need that, but they can sell it. So it's an extra business model for them. This is also important for you to understand. My very last slide before we need to go to lunch is in the future. At the moment, with the things going on in Ukraine, we will see an expansion of district heating from the city of Aalborg at least, because some of our neighboring municipalities, they have natural gas as their primary resource, which is not good at the moment. We also will see cooling as a larger area with the hot summers. I'm sure you all experienced this summer as well. Triple helix collaboration is important in Denmark, so the public sector, the consumers, and also the companies working together. That's what we call it the Danish model. CCUS, so carbon capture and utilization and storage, is something that we look into as well. In the picture you can see there, we still have the incineration plant in the middle and the Portland factory. They will still be there. So like here in Velenje, you will still have your coal mine. That is why we are looking into how to capture the CO2 and use that as an ingredient to something else. The same approach could be done here in Velenje, maintaining the coal mine production if needed, but taking the CO2, making sure that there's no pollution. Then it's still allowed, you can say, to have a coal mine. That is what we're looking into. This is only the Aalborg case. This is not something you can duplicate. You have to look into what is your strengths locally and use them in a smart way. PTX, Power to X, we will have, especially in the summertime, a surplus generation, the electrical generation. So we can use that to generate something else. Right now, we are looking into, especially with the port, they will build a new PTX facility. They will produce methanol for ships, and they will also produce green hydrogen for heavy trucks. So again, the symbiosis mindset is very important here. Biogas, Denmark is not as beautiful as Slovenia, with a lot of forests and mountains. We have a lot of boring flat land all over, so we have a lot of farmland. So we will of course always also use biogas in the coming years. It will be green biogas. So we will have like 30 new plants in the coming 5 years. Of course, there will be some neighbors complaining about the smell, but that's how it is. The green transition is something that takes up some space. Very short, a lot of information. Sorry for that. Let's go have some lunch. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moreno. Torej, pred nami je čas za kosilo, časa imamo dobrih 45 minut, nadaljujemo 14 in 15 minut, torej ob 2 in 15 popoldne. Prosim, bodite nazaj, kolikor se da točni ali pa kar točni, da bomo slišali veliko zanimivega v panelu 4. Dober tek!